make it out. You know, it's the holiday season. I got some noises back there, you know, I got the extended family coming here. You know, this might startle you, but I'm a time traveler. And I have come from the year 2059 to see what's going on. Alright, I've actually provided a 15-step program to instruct you how to do this. I have it pulled up on my computer. Yeah. So, seeing as I am from the year 2059, I thought it'd be a great idea to take you 100 years in the past to 1959. See what goes on there. So, with my revolutionary technology, I've invented a chair that will take you to the past. Okay? It's right here. It's always been here from the day you were born because I planted it here. This was a message. Okay, we're gonna send you back in time. Okay. Hey, Jeremy. Other way. Good job. Okay. Anyways, what I was saying was, I will take you back in time to 1959. First step, there should be a lever located to your left-hand side. You pull that lever, it's off to the races. We should be able to go to the past. Jeremy, can okay, stop. So now that it's been primed, all we have to do is spin around and think about where we want to go. Jeremy, spin me. Move the camera. Get on. No, you don't want to be in the shot. Whoa. The vortex flow into my bloodstream. I'm feeling the vortex flowing into my veins. 1959. With innovations in media and communication, everybody in 1959 seemed to be having a great time. The Soviet Union's great big Iron Curtain had begun to crack, and the U.S. is getting this relationship together better with Cuba. Everyone was having a great time. Psychology. Woo! Psychology. What was psychology like in 1959? My child, you are destined to be the world's greatest psychologist. That is your destiny, my child. You are me. You are me. You will become me, but you have to figure this out with a little help from space time. And I will teach you the world of psychology. What exactly happened in psychology 62 years ago? What happened? We have traveled back in time to answer our question. Whoa. Guys, we're at Harvard University. Do you know who works at Harvard University? Famous psychologist B.F. Skinner. He was the frontman of the behaviorist school of thought. But little did you know that B.F. Skinner had some beef. B.F. Skinner currently now is in the midst of the scientific debate that will change the history of psychology for the rest of our decades. Behavioristic psychology is based around the idea that the brain's functions can be explained by conditioning and observable behavior. And in 1957, B.F. Skinner released a book called Verbal Behavior. It details its theory of language acquisition. Skinner believed that language learning was acquired through association and reinforcement, which seems like a logical conclusion to make. If you sat a child in front of a French TV channel, the child would most likely pick up just a bit of French. Two years later, are you recording? 2 years later, Noam Chomsky wrote a review of B.F. Skinner's Verbal Behavior, where Noam Chomsky absolutely tore Skinner's claim to shreds. He introduced the poverty of stimulus theory, which asserted that language acquisition in children is more complex than what Skinner proposed. Chomsky claimed that the brain contains innate systems which help organize and explain language, which is what he called universal grammar. The argument was absolutely heated. Skinner outwardly claimed Chomsky ignored the point of his book and called into question not only the validity of his claims, but also the shady way in which he presented the review. Chomsky initially created the review in 1958, but republished it a year later at a reduced length of only 32 pages. Yet Skinner only briefly read a dozen pages of his first print and refused to read the reprint despite pressure from the growing universal language advocates.
Well, let me tell you about Chomsky. I published Verbal Behavior in 1957. In 1958, I received a 55-page typewritten review by someone whom I had never heard of, named Noam Chomsky. I read half a dozen pages and saw that he had missed the point of my book and read no further. In 1959, I received a reprint from a journal called Language, reduced now to 32 pages in type, and saw that it was the same review by this unknown character, and so I put it aside without reading it.
Skinner held an air of ignorant superiority throughout his interviews, despite never reading his review and dismissing his claims because he was a newbie. Bickering aside, this review marked a major turning point in psychology, the shift away from behaviorism to focus on both observable behavior and brain functions. Or what we call the cognitive revolution. 1959. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa! We're in Chicago! Big scary town. Holy crap. Is that famous psychologist Lawrence Kohlberg?
Hello there, children. I am Lawrence Kohlberg. I do psychology.
Hey, Mr. Lawrence Kohlberg. Mr. Kohlberg, what exactly do you do?
I am famous for my 6-stage theory of development in children. Influenced by the work of Jean Piaget, I created my theory. There are 3 levels of my theory: pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional.
It is!
Pre-conventional is when we begin to accept authority as well as form moral compasses. Then conventional occurs where our established morality and authority are tied to our relationships. Post-conventional developments sees our morality applied to abstract principles and values such as politics.
That's amazing. So how exactly did you create this theory?
I interviewed 72 lower and middle class white boys. and presented them each with a moral dilemma to see how they would react. Okay.
Lawrence Kohlberg, everybody. Woo. Woo. Wow. The genius of this man. Genius of... Oh crap. We're running out of time. We have to time travel. The portal is fluxing into us. 959. Whoa. Whoa! We're time traveling more! Whoa! Whoa! Time travel, time travel. Kohlberg's theory played a vital role in the development of moral psychology. Moral psychology being the study of human functioning in moral contexts, and how moral reasoning develops as we change. There are many issues with this study, however, like concepts from the moral dilemmas not applying to the age range tested, and the sampling only including white lower middle class boys, and the lack of multiculturalism. We gotta go! Something important psychologically is happening right now in that building. We gotta go check it out. Wow, guys, what's that door? I'm getting pretty chilly in here. I mean, yeah, I need a coat. You know, people say you need lab coats, but I just wear my jacket. Whoa! Lordy!
36 babies, 15 months to 14 months old, placed in the center like this one.
Jeez! I think we just experienced one of the most famous psychological experiments ever. The visual cliff experiment! Created to test if babies had the innate ability to detect depth and have depth perception. Eleanor Gibson and Richard Walk devised an experiment in which they placed young children by a shallow and deep cliff and saw which one they walked off of, okay? So yeah, of course, the ledges were protected by glass, but nonetheless, that was what was tested. The infant's mom would play with toys and encourage them to jump off the deep cliff. Contrary to popular belief, the experiment was not intended to test if babies had a natural fear of heights, but rather if they just had a sense of depth. Eventually, around 92% of children did not walk onto the deep ledge, even though they touched the glass first or experimented, did a little tapping motion. Gibson and Walk concluded that children did in fact have an innate depth perception. An issue that would affect the validity of this claim would be the fact that the infants were several months old at the time and would have already learned depth perception by that point. The study wasn't that ethical either, as the babies couldn't withdraw if they suffered stress and could not physically give consent to the experiment. I believe that the study was in fact helpful in progressing psychology as a whole, and of course over time people reproduced the experiment and changed the participants' age and other factors that would prevent the claim from actually being valid. But I feel that there are way too many issues with it to really consider it completely valid, because you don't know if these infants were necessarily born with that sense of depth perception. Thank you! Thank you! thank you for attending this meeting, future me. Well, I hope you have a Merry Christmas or Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Guys, remember to like me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.